the defense calls Dustin Duren. Mr. Duren, please remain standing. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you give today will be the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you can go ahead and sit down. Please state your full name and spell it for the record.
Dustin, D-U-S-T-I-N, Duren, D-U-R-E-N.
Dustin, I wanted to start by asking you, are you a father?
Yes, to the loves of my life, my two daughters,
What are your two daughters' names?
Eloin and Valen.
How old are they?
They are currently 5 and 2.
Are you a veteran?
Yes, I am.
What branch did you serve in?
The Marine Corps.
When did you enlist?
So I enlisted right out of high school. So a week after I graduated high school at 18, I left for boot camp.
Where did you go to boot camp?
So this was in Camp Pendleton, California.
Did you do infantry training?
Yes.
Where did you go to infantry training?
So that was at the same place, Camp Pendleton, California.
In the Marines, did you receive training with firearms?
Extensive training, yes, to where you're expected to assemble, disassemble, load, fire with the highest of proficiency, and they drill it over and over and over to where they want it ingrained in you, to where it's instilled in you. It becomes instinctual.
What's instilled in you?
The use of your weapon, whether it's rifle, pistol.
Were you taught about firearm safety?
Yes. The Marine Corps specifically has 4 rules.
And what are they?
And this is something that I teach even just outside the Marine Corps, but these are rules that I think really everyone should follow. This isn't just a Marine Corps thing, but number 1, treat every weapon as if it were loaded. 2, never point your weapon at anything you do not intend to shoot. 3, keep your fingers straight and off the trigger until you're ready to fire. And 4, keep your weapon on safe until you intend to fire.
And you've talked a little bit about it, but can you tell me, as a Marine, what familiarity with firearms were you expected to have?
Absolute familiarity. I mean, you spend a lot of time with it. You're expected to be combat ready, and that's something else with the Marine Corps, specifically to the Marine Corps of every Marine is a rifleman.
What does every Marine as a rifleman mean?
So, like I said, this is something specific to the Marine Corps. So it doesn't matter what your job is. So you could be a cook, but before you even go through your job training, you're expected to go through infantry training.
And what is the point of going through infantry training, regardless of specialty?
So that everyone is combat ready, is trained with a rifle, trained to be a warfighter first.
And is that different than other branches of the armed service?
Yes, yeah.
In boot camp, did you receive any recognition for your proficiency with firearms?
So right away in boot camp, I graduated as the battalion high shooter.
What does that mean?
So in our marksmanship course, I was the highest shooter out of our entire graduating class.
Does that mean you were the most proficient with a rifle of everyone
Yes,
you went
yes.
to boot camp with? Did you do any other type of combat training in boot camp or in infantry training?
So specifically in infantry training, you train with all sorts of different weapons. So we were training with like the M240 Golf, heavy machine gun, Mark 19, automatic grenade launcher. But and then 2, we hand-to-hand combat, we have or close quarters combat, we have a program called MCMAP.
What is MCMAP?
And that is the Marine Corps Martial Arts Program. It's different from most other martial arts in that, specifically other martial arts, you're learned to incapacitate, or get away. And with MCMAP, you're specifically trained to kill, really by any means. But this is in the use with just your hands, or with pistols, with close quarters, with a rifle, just everything close quarters related.
And let me just make sure I understood that right. The Marine Corps Martial Arts Program, you're learning martial arts combining unarmed combat and weapons-based training?
Yes.
Let's jump from training to deployment. Where were you first deployed?
So I was first deployed to Japan, Okinawa, Japan.
Did you do any firearms training or qualifications in Japan?
Yes. So every year, again, regardless of what your job is, you're expected to go through an annual marksmanship training and qualification. So right away, once I got to Japan, then I did the annual qualification. But then again, I was squadron high shooter, and they tagged me and asked me if I wanted to become a coach.
Why were you asked to become a coach?
Again, really, it's I was just kind of tagged, like people noticed with me being the squadron high shooter.
So because of your proficiency with
Yeah,
firearms?
yes.
What did you have to do to become a coach?
So there's the combat marksmanship coach course. You go really beyond what you would normally go through, or the training or the qualification. You do much more, whether it's like just regular target practice, or you could be doing moving targets, yourself moving, but a lot more in detail. And then you're also taught specifically how to teach others.
How did you do in the coach's course?
So again, in the coach's course, I was again the highest shooter, and beating out. There's mainly a lot of other infantry Marines, but there's also specifically there's two Force Recon Marines there, which Force Recon, that's it's basically like Navy SEALs or Army Rangers of the Marine Corps.
So you outshot the Marine version of the Navy SEALs in the coach's training course?
Yes.
After you took the coach's course, did you serve as a marksmanship coach?
Yes, I did.
How did you serve as a coach?
Again, then at that point, I was a combat marksmanship coach. It was just called like a B billet, but it was secondary to my normal job. But I would then train other Marines in this annual qualification, or whenever Marines need to qualify, and ended up teaching hundreds of Marines.
And what did you teach hundreds of Marines to do?
To perfect their shooting, their proficiency with rifle or pistol.
During your time in the military, can you estimate how often you discharged a weapon, or how many times?
Thousands, probably tens of thousands.
And what did discharging a firearm tens of thousands of times do?
And it gets instilled in you to where, like, I guess you could say you could do it in your sleep. It's just so ingrained in you that they really want you to do it basically without conscious thought. Like, it just, it's so drilled in you over and over.
What were you trained to use a firearm for?
Eliminate threats.
Besides Japan, where else were you deployed?
So I was deployed all over the Pacific, so Philippines, Thailand, Korea, and then also to Kuwait and Iraq.
When were you deployed to Iraq?
So this would have been 2008.
Where in Iraq were you stationed?
There's a Marine base called Al-Assad.
Did you experience any violence or danger in Iraq?
So at the time, 2008, the big things then were IEDs, or improvised explosive devices, and mortar attacks. And then I did take small arms fire from my helicopter, small arms being like rifles, AK-47. And then specifically for my job as an aircraft recovery specialist, we dealt with plane crashes or like emergency landings, which happened when I was there.
And you said you took small arms fire from a helicopter. Does that mean you were shot at while you were in a helicopter?
Yes.
Did anything else traumatic happen while you were in Iraq?
Yes, so I was back at sort of our home area. So when you're in Iraq, you're basically just working 24/7.
Object at this point if we can approach.
If there's a pending question, it is withdrawn, subject to being rephrased.
Do you have PTSD?
I do.
Is your PTSD service connected?
It is.
How does your PTSD affect you?
I have severe depression, specifically bouts of severe depression, which affects really just everyday life, but to include just everything, even from like maintaining jobs, stuff like that.
And when did you start experiencing symptoms of your PTSD?
Real symptoms, probably once I got out of the Marine Corps. I guess, well, no, actually, probably not. I guess I'll rephrase that. Immediately afterwards, I'm questioning what I can say, but
The question in front of you, just, I think, ask it as narrowly, answer as narrowly
Okay.
as you can, is when did you first start experiencing symptoms from your PTSD?
okay. With that direct question, immediately afterwards.
Immediately after you were discharged from the Marine Corps?
Well, no, immediately after the event itself.
Immediately after the event itself?
Yes.
And what year was that?
2008.
That was while you were in Iraq?
Yes.
When did you get a diagnosis of PTSD?
Officially, this would have been 2021 or 22.
So after almost 15 years of experiencing symptoms?
Yes, yes.
When were you discharged from the Marines?
So this would have been 2011. I was honorably discharged in 2011
You were honorably discharged at what rank?
as a sergeant.
After leaving the Marines, where did you move?
I moved to Los Angeles, California, that's where I got my degree in audio engineering, and then I was almost immediately hired at Fox Sports as a post-production audio engineer.
Were you experiencing symptoms of PTSD or depression while you lived in Los Angeles?
Yes.
Where did you live after LA?
So afterwards, which this was just part of my sort of severe depression, but I ended up moving to Las Vegas, Nevada, and that made sense just for my work and also working as an event technician, so working at for like corporate events and music events in Vegas.
How was your mental health when you first moved to Vegas?
It was
Objection. Relevance.
Approach. Overruled.
Dustin, how was your mental health when you first moved to Vegas?
It was extremely bad. So that was part of why my move happened, but it only got worse as I was there. And along with another traumatic event, that's when I had a suicide attempt.
Were you hospitalized after your suicide attempt?
Yes,
Where did you go after was it a psychiatric hospitalization?
yes.
Where did you go after your psychiatric hospitalization?
So this was a little bit afterwards. My parents were trying to convince me to live with them, to come back to Minnesota and basically just try to take care of myself, take care of my health, and just be with family for a while. So it took a few months afterwards, but eventually I agreed and moved back to Minnesota, and this would have been November, December of 2018.
You moved back to Minnesota in November or December 2018?
Yes.
When did you meet Caitlyn?
So this was shortly afterwards, maybe about this, well, yeah, it would have been like 3 months later, February of 2019.
Where did you meet?
So it was at a bar, and I remember it specifically because the Super Bowl was on.
Did you two start dating?
Yes, probably about a week or two later.
When did Caitlyn get pregnant?
Almost immediately. So I think I found out it's probably April of 2019.
How did you feel when you found out that Caitlyn was pregnant?
There was a mix of emotions. So this was not planned. This was unexpected. So I was kind of anxious about it, but at the same time, I got pretty excited about just having a family, starting a family.
Had you always planned on having a family?
I did. Came a little early, but yes,
And was Caitlyn pregnant with your daughter, Eloin?
yes.
Did you and Caitlyn move in together once you found out she was pregnant?
Yeah, so I don't remember the exact time, but it probably was around that time, April 2019, in which she moved in with me at my parents' house.
How were you involved during the pregnancy?
I tried to be involved as much as possible. I was going to all the doctor's appointments, just trying to take care of Caitlyn as much as I could. Just like her being happy makes the baby happy. So just, trying to take care of her as much as I could as well.
How was your mental health immediately before Caitlyn got pregnant?
Before it was still pretty bad. I was seeing a psychologist. Not great.
Can you tell me what you mean by not great?
I was still dealing with some pretty bad depression, and just my life just kind of feeling meaningless or just really without purpose.
How was your mental health during Caitlyn's pregnancy?
So it improved pretty quickly with just being so excited about starting a family.
Did it make you feel like you had a purpose?
It was starting to, yes.
Tell us about the day that Eloin was born.
So it was December 2nd. So right away in the morning, Caitlyn woke me up and told me her water broke, and we went to the hospital. the labor was long. It was about 13 hours. But yeah, once Eloin was born, she was placed on Caitlyn's chest, and but immediately she was turning purple and wasn't breathing. So immediately I'm yelling at the nurses like, "Hey, something's seriously wrong here." They grab her, they take her to the side. They end up restarting, like she's started to breathe again. But then they ended up taking her to the NICU, to where she ended up spending a week there. Everything was fine, but they were just doing that as a precaution.
Where were you and Caitlyn while Eloin was in the NICU?
So for the most part, we were with her. So we didn't really want to, obviously we wanted to be with her all the time. And then we would sometimes try to get back to the house just to like shower or whatever, try to get some sleep. And but yeah, for the most part, in the NICU with her.
Tell us what it felt like the first time that you held Eloin.
It was beautiful. This was, hey, I have my first child. It was amazing.
When Eloin was discharged from the hospital, where did the three of you go?
We moved back with my parents at their house.
And this was in Minnesota?
Yes.
How did it feel to take Eloin home from the hospital?
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
How did it feel to take Eloin home from the hospital?
Again, amazing. Again, it was, I just felt so happy just having this family, just being together as this family.
Did you spend a lot of time with Eloin when she was an infant?
All the time, as much as I could. Always being by her side. I mean, whatever, just, I don't know, bassinets, is that what they're called? Whatever, wherever she was sleeping, wherever she was, I always wanted to be near her, just always being with her. She actually had, this little, it was like a little unicorn handkerchief or blanket, I guess. But she always had it since she was born, and she would make these noises like goy goy when she had it, and that we ended up calling it goy goy, and she still has it today, and that's still what we call it, her goy goy.
What did you like to do with Eloin when she was an infant?
Well, I definitely like to show her off a lot. Just going to see different family, friends. Yeah.
When she was an infant, were you worried about Eloin's safety?
Of course. I was always watching her, always protecting her, to where just even if she's on the bed, like is something over her, like is she gonna roll over, or would she roll off the bed, or like if she's laying on the couch for some reason, is she gonna roll off the couch? I was just always watching her.
How long after Eloin was born did you stay in Minnesota?
So this was about 6 months. So it would have been June, yeah, I think like June of 2020. And at this point, so I had talked about how I was only ever in Minnesota temporarily, and my plan was always to go back to Nevada eventually. And then, so obviously I got disrupted a little bit with Eloin being born, but and then actually 2020 as well, that was during COVID. And so my work wasn't really available. Events were not really happening in Vegas. And so I was trying to find work, and it just worked out that I happened to find a job at the United States Postal Service as a mail carrier.
And so let me just make sure this is clear. So you said you left Minnesota in June of 2020.
Yes.
Is that when you moved to Vegas?
Yes, that's when I moved to Vegas.
And you moved there because of a job with USPS?
Yes.
Did Caitlyn and Eloin also move to Vegas?
Yes.
Were you looking for USPS for a long time?
Working for them, no. So once we moved there, this had a lot to do with how much a mail carrier, specifically in Vegas, was working at the time during the pandemic. To where there was a lot of work, learning or working long hours, like easily over like 12 hours, probably 6 days a week. And my depression started coming back. I think a lot of it had to do with just me not being around Eloin and Caitlyn. So I ended up quitting that around October, November 2020.
I'm going to ask you a little bit about your first Christmas in Vegas. Was Caitlyn there?
No,
Where had Caitlyn gone?
she flew back to Minnesota.
Did she take Eloin with her?
No,
Who was in Vegas with you?
so it was just me and Eloin.
How was your and Eloin's first Christmas in Vegas?
So this was, again, to where my depression was coming back, and really that first morning, all I had was just this little Christmas tree is probably about a foot tall, and then just a couple presents. And I was really starting to feel just sort of worthless again, like almost like I didn't deserve her. I couldn't provide for her, didn't deserve her. And but
Do you mean Eloin? You were starting to feel like you
Eloin,
deserved
yes. And but she was so happy, and her just how happy she was, that became really just the most pivotal moment in my life. With everything I'd done, everything just paled in comparison to that moment of just, she became my everything, my life. And from that moment on, she was my purpose, my meaning in life.
Tell us about what Eloin was like as a toddler.
Always happy, always run around, always learning. I tried to be good with always teaching her stuff. I remember sending it was a video to my mom, but she had flashcards to where they just had letters on them, like A, B, C, D, and then a picture of an animal on it. And I remember showing her or recording this and just showing Eloin these pictures or these flashcards, and her just rattling them off, getting them one by one, every single one of them correct, and just how amazingly smart she was, just even at such a young age.
How did you feel about being a father?
Again, it was amazing. That it felt like that was my entire life, was being a father.
Were there any times when Eloin was a toddler where you were concerned about her safety?
There was a specific situation to where Caitlyn was babysitting another kid. He was a little bit older, so Eloin would have been 2 or 3 at the time, and this other.
Objection, Your Honor.
Approach.
rephrase. Is it fair to say that you continue to be concerned, on alert about Eloin's safety when she was a toddler?
Absolutely, yes.
Did you do anything together with Caitlyn to help ensure that your family was safe?
So, yes, I taught her to use the pistol that I had. She had already known a little bit, but we went out. I took her out to the range a few times. We fired it. I made sure that she knew how to use it as well.
You testified previously about being a combat marksman coach for the Marines. Is that how you taught Caitlyn how to use a firearm?
Yes, and not as an intense way, but yes.
And was it your understanding that Caitlyn was proficient with a pistol?
Yeah, yeah.
You said you taught her with your pistol. What pistol are you referring to?
Really, this was the only pistol I've ever owned, and it was gifted to me by my dad after I got out of the Marine Corps.
Was there anything about living in Vegas that caused safety concerns?
Objection. Relevance.
May we approach, Judge?
Sure. Sustained as to the question, but withdrawn to rephrase.
Yes, so I'm going to assume there were multiple incidents in Vegas that caused you safety concerns?
Yes.
Can you tell me about the last, maybe like the third one?
Okay, so it was at night. Caitlyn was working that night, and so and this was late at night, so probably like 10 p.m. maybe. But Eloin and I were on the couch just watching TV. I think Eloin was asleep at the time, but I heard the doorknob sort of rattling, and and by the way, the living room was right next to the front door. And so I peeked back, and there's some blinds and a window behind me. So I peeked back and pulled the blind back a little bit, and there's a person right there trying to get into the house. So I immediately grab Eloin and I run upstairs, and I set her down upstairs, and I tell her, do not move. And I end up grabbing my gun, going out to the door and start yelling for the person to get out of here. And they really started banging on the door at that point, trying to get in. At one point, I did end up slightly cracking the door and showing, like flashing the pistol that I had and yelling at him, hey, you really need to get out of here now. At that point, they tried to stick their foot in the door, like kick the door open. I was able to slam it shut on them, lock it again. At that point, that's when I ended up calling the police as I'm standing in front of the door. And within that conversation, they said that they're on their way. I do remember specifically they're asking about the gun because I told them that I had one out, and I specifically told them I'd put it away when they arrived. But it took them about 30 minutes to get there, and by that time this person had left, and so they did eventually show up. I walked outside with Eloin and just sort of talked to him a bit. We tried to get some Ring doorbell camera footage, but we ended up not being able to see anything.
But the police didn't respond in time to address the threat or catch the person.
No.
At some point, did you and Caitlyn decide to leave Las Vegas?
So, yes. She didn't really like Nevada. I did, but I basically was saying, okay, if you don't want to live here, convince me where we should move. And over the course of probably about a year and a half, we went over just a bunch of different places to move to. But she had suggested early on about New Hampshire, specifically because her Aunt Brenda lived here, and she thought she could get work through her. And that was eventually what we decided on.
When were you planning to move to New Hampshire?
So this would have been, at the time we were renting a house, and our lease was going to be up August 1st. So that was going to be the time.
August 1st of what year?
Oh, this would have been 2023.
What steps had you taken together to move to New Hampshire?
So we had been talking about it for a long time, but closer to it, I ended up ordering some pods, like U-Haul storage pods that they bring to the house, and then you pack them up and they ship them out. But I had ordered some pods, brought it to the house, or had it being brought to the house to pack up all our stuff and eventually move there.
Did you think that you and Caitlyn had agreed on a plan to move to New Hampshire?
Yes,
And whose idea was it?
Caitlin's.
Would you have been happy to stay in Nevada?
Yes.
How were you planning on getting to New Hampshire?
So the plan was for me to basically drive, and I had a very long road trip planned out. Actually, I had two planned out because I had a southern route and a northern route. But Eloin and I driving out, and then Caitlyn and Valen would then fly out.
Why were you going to drive with Eloin while Caitlyn flew with Valen?
I guess specifically, I didn't think Valen at that point, she would have been about 6 months old. I didn't think that she or really anyone would be able to handle a long road trip.
I think I skipped an important event in your life here. When was Valen born?
Oh, that was January 17th, 2023.
And Valen is your and Caitlin's child?
Yes,
Was she born in Vegas?
yes,
And so your plan was for 6-month-old Valen to fly to New Hampshire with Caitlyn while you drove with Eloin?
yes.
Did the four of you move to New Hampshire in August 2023 as planned?
No.
What happened instead?
So before the pods I'd ordered have arrived, a different set of pods showed up, and I was upstairs at the time, and I heard a truck outside and was confused about what was going on. I didn't know if there was pods were there, if they were just coincidence, that it was someone else's pods, or if ours had arrived early. But anyways, I go downstairs to go check on it, and Caitlyn is in the kitchen, and I tell her, hey, there's pods outside. I'm gonna go check out what they're about. And she says that they're hers. And this was really the first time I found out that no, she was not going to New Hampshire, that she was going back to Minnesota.
And had you been aware that Caitlyn was planning on going back to Minnesota?
No, that was the moment I found out.
What did you do when you found out that Caitlyn was going back to Minnesota?
I was pretty distraught. I didn't understand it. I was pretty upset just about how and why she was breaking up the family. I didn't understand it.
Did you and Caitlyn come up with a plan about what would happen with the kids when she went back to Minnesota?
No. So I was trying to talk to her about it, about what the plan was. And again, just being really distraught about just what was going on. Was she going to just go back by herself, and she was going to leave the kids with me, or is she trying to take both, or are we splitting the kids? And any one of those options I didn't really like, but she just wasn't responding. She just wouldn't have that conversation with me.
What happened when Caitlyn went back to Minnesota?
So she ended up just going outside with the stroller, like she was going to the park.
Who was in the stroller?
Valen. So Eloin was at daycare at this point. She was in like a preschool daycare kind of thing. And so she took Valen out into the stroller, and just was kind of walking like going to the park, and which was normal. I mean, we went to the park all the time, so that seemed like a normal thing. She didn't take anything. She just left like she was going to the park. And a couple hours go by, and she hadn't come back, or I didn't hear anything. So I ended up going to the park, and no one was there. So I texted her, "Where is she?" And she responded that she was at the airport with Valen.
Had Caitlyn previously told you that she was taking Valen to the airport?
No,
And did Caitlyn tell you where her and Valen were going to go once they got to the airport?
well, they were going to Minnesota.
Had Caitlyn told you she was taking Valen to Minnesota?
No,
Had you given permission for Caitlyn to take Valen to a different state?
no.
What did you do when Caitlyn told you that she was at the airport with Valen, about to take your child to a different state?
So I freaked out. I immediately drove to Eloin's daycare because I wanted to see if she had grabbed Eloin too. And so I went there, and no, she wasn't. Eloin was still at the daycare. So I picked her up and then sped to the airport. And as I was doing that, I was calling my parents. I called her dad, Rob, just trying to figure out what was going on. And it seemed like no one knew what was going on.
Did you talk to Caitlyn again that day?
So eventually I did get her on the phone, and this was while I was still driving, and she said she wasn't going to come back through security because, and I started telling her I at least want to say goodbye to Valen, and for her to at least say goodbye to Eloin. But she just said she wasn't going to go back through security. And eventually, I guess I just gave up on it and turned around and headed back to the house.
When you headed back to the house, did you talk to anyone else? Or did you continue to talk to other people about what to do?
Well, yes. So, I ended up trying to figure out just basically what to do, but I was talking to like my family and Caitlyn's family just about what was happening and what the plan should be. I figured, well, okay, if we're not going to New Hampshire, I'll just stay in Nevada because I just like Nevada. I like the desert. I like being there, so I figured I would just stay in Nevada. But they were all, both my family and her family, they're all trying to convince me, hey, come back to Minnesota. We'll all be together. We'll all try and figure this out together. And really, I didn't make up my mind until July 31st, really, the day before I left. And because I had already had an apartment secured in Vegas, a new apartment. And, yeah, I eventually decided to go back to Minnesota, really on the point that I did not want Eloin and Valen to grow up separately. That really bothered me.
How did you get back to Minnesota from Vegas?
So Eloin and I, we made a nice road trip out of it. Spent several days with a friend of mine in Utah and just doing this whole road trip. That was just this another incredible bonding experience. Yeah.
Once you got back to Minnesota, where did you live?
So I ended up moving back in with my parents.
What about Caitlyn? Where did she live?
So she was living with a friend of hers.
How far apart was where you lived and where Caitlyn lived?
If I'm remembering right, it was about an hour and a half.
Where were the girls? Where were Eloin and Valen living when you were both in Minnesota?
So we were splitting custody to where there'd be times to where she was with Caitlyn. The girls were with Caitlyn, and then times where they were with me and my parents.
Who were they with more?
I think the total number came out to be 98 days with me and my family, 48 days with her, and then a random 15 days to where the kids were split for whatever reason.
When the kids were moving between the two households, how did they get from one place to another?
So I would normally drive, which I was fine with doing, but I would just drive and drop them off, or drive down there and pick up the girls. But eventually we ended up figuring out a restaurant to kind of meet in the middle, and then that generally became our spot to exchange the girls.
Did you try to come up with a more permanent plan for where the four of you would live?
So yes, specifically in October, I had a meeting at the same restaurant that we would normally meet at, with Rob, her dad, and we tried to plan out, or basically, okay, I asked her just point blank of, hey, can we just continue our trip to New Hampshire? And she immediately said yes, and which kind of surprised me because I thought I would have to try to convince her somehow, but she just immediately said yes, and from that point on, that's when we started planning to eventually continue the move that was planned to New Hampshire.
Just gonna ask a couple clarifying questions. You said this meeting was sometime around October. Was this October of 2023?
Yes.
And then you said, you asked if you could continue your trip. By that, did you mean your move to New Hampshire?
Yes.
Were the four of you going to live together in New Hampshire?
I would not have been opposed to it. I'm just someone who's really big on the nuclear family, and I feel like it's really, really important for children to grow up with both parents in the household together, everyone living together. And so I would not have been opposed to it, but at first the plan was that we would live separately.
And when did you decide to, or when did you plan to move to New Hampshire?
So this was October, so we were deciding that we would wait until after all the holidays, and so like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Eloin's birthday on December 2nd, and then Christmas, New Year's, and then Valen's birthday on January 17th. So we'd wait for after all the holidays, spend the rest of the time with family, and then after Valen's birthday, then to start the move.
Was the plan for all four of you to start the move at the same time?
So no, I would go out there first with Eloin, get the place secured and just kind of get set up. And then Caitlyn would then fly out with Valen, and we worked it out to where she would drop Valen off to me, and then she would go back to Minnesota just to kind of get money and just kind of work on what she needed to do, free of not having to worry about the girls. And then once she got some money secured, then moving a few months later, when her Aunt Brenda would have seasonal work for her.
And why didn't you just take both Eloin and Valen with you initially?
Again, the road trip, I thought it would just be too much. But I did know previously, just because of Eloin's and I's road trip from Nevada to Minnesota, which she did fantastic with, that I knew that she would have a really easy time, and we'd have just another great bonding experience kind of doing this road trip from Minnesota to New Hampshire.
And you said you thought it would be too much. Did you mean too much for Valen?
Well, yes, but probably me too, trying to do a road trip with two young girls, like a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old at the time, yes.
And Valen was one at the time of this.
Yes,
trip.
yes.
What did you do to get ready to move to New Hampshire?
So I had, again, ordered pods, just sort of packing up all the girls' stuff. As we were doing this, Caitlyn was bringing me some of the stuff, like Eloin and Valen stuff that she had. Like during Valen's birthday, we went to the Mall of America. But anyways, when we met there, then Caitlyn brought kind of the remainder of Eloin's stuff that she had, and then some of Valen's stuff, so that I could put it in the pods to be sent to New Hampshire. So she did that, and then two, I showed her because I had gotten the apartment by then, and so I was showing her pictures of the apartment and where we were staying, and that it was going to be the place in Berlin, the apartment in Berlin.
Did you give her the address?
Yes.
So you said you had decided to leave for New Hampshire after the holidays, the last of the holidays being Valen's birthday?
Yes.
And what day is Valen's birthday?
January 17th.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Certainly, certainly.
I'm going to show you what's been marked for ID as Defendant's E. What is that?
It's a January 2024 calendar.
Is there more than one page?
Yes. So it's also February and March 2024.
Can you please mark Valen's birthday, January 17th, on the calendar?
Yes.
Did Caitlyn book a flight to New Hampshire?
Yes. So this was before I left. She ordered a flight out to Boston. Yes.
And how did you know she had gotten a flight to Boston before you left?
Pretty sure she texted it to me. I'm pretty sure the day before we ended up leaving. Eloin and I.
What day did Caitlyn text you information about her flight?
I mean, I don't recall exactly, but I guess maybe the 19th, January 19th.
Would it refresh your recollection if I showed you copies of the text between you and Caitlyn?
Okay.
So I'm going to show you what's been marked for ID as Defendant's Exhibit I. What does that first message show?
It shows the,
Your Honor, that was supposed to refresh recollection.
Assistant.
When did Caitlyn text you her flight information?
that was January 19th.
And what did she text you specifically?
She texted me a screenshot of the flight info.
What dates are on the reservation?
The 27th, I believe it was February 27th.
Was there a return flight?
Yes.
What date was the return flight scheduled?
The 5th. Yeah, I think it was the 5th, March 5th.
And whose name is on the reservation?
Caitlyn's.
And again, she sent you that text on January 19th.
Yes.
Can you note on the calendar that I've provided when Caitlyn sent you her flight information?
Okay.
What day did you leave Minnesota?
So that was the next day, January 20th.
And you left with Eloin?
Yes,
Can you please mark on the calendar the day that you and Eloin left Minnesota?
yes. Okay.
Had Caitlyn been with you, or I'm sorry, had Eloin been with you the night before you left for Minnesota, left from Minnesota?
No. So I had to pick her up on the morning of the 20th.
Where did you pick her up from?
So this was this was at her friend's house. So I drove over in the morning. Went to her friend's house. She was the one that opened the door. I guess I could say the name, Sarah. But saw her, just said a brief greeting, just hey, and then she went upstairs, and I went inside, just met with Caitlyn for a little bit, and we all came out together to the car. I had it just packed with all sorts of stuff for the road trip. Like my mom made Eloin a picture book, but just road trip ready. And then basically I said goodbye to Valen, and Caitlyn said goodbye to Eloin, and we started our road trip.
Before you started, had you sent any messages to Caitlyn that day,
Before,
before you left?
yes.
And why did you message her?
It was just to figure out where I was picking up Eloin.
And did Caitlyn send you an address to pick Eloin up?
Yes,
She sent that via text?
yes.
Did you text her again to let her know when you got there?
Yes, to Sarah's house, yes.
Yeah. Were you and Caitlyn in touch while you and Eloin were on the road trip?
Yes, the whole time. Actually, immediately afterwards, it was about 10 minutes after I started the road trip, Eloin just started vomiting in the car. And anyway, so I immediately had to pull over and take care of her. And I texted Caitlyn about, hey, Eloin's throwing up in the car. What is going on? And she texted back just something about how, yeah, Eloin had been
Objection.
sick.
Sustained.
Hearsay.
Were you and Caitlyn in touch in other ways while you were on the trip?
Yes, so I had been calling and we were FaceTiming and just kind of showing our adventures throughout the road trip.
Were there any other subjects that you communicated about while you were on the road trip?
I think again she was asking for some more money. I had been just sort of regularly sending her money. It wasn't a ton, but it was just kind of what I could afford, like a few $100s every month, like maybe like $500 one month or $100 the next month. But yeah, I think she was asking just for some more money.
And how did you respond?
Objection. Hearsay.
As to who responded, has Caitlyn respond?
How did Dustin respond to Caitlyn?
Objection, may we approach?
Yep. Sustained.
May we approach?
Dustin, I'm going to approach with what's been marked for ID as Defendant's Exhibit F. You can take that. What is that?
That's a picture of Eloin and I at Niagara Falls.
And was that picture taken while you were on your road trip?
Yes,
Is it a fair and accurate representation of what you and Eloin looked like and where you were on your road trip?
yes,
Did you text that photograph to Caitlyn?
yes.
And when did you text it to her?
I believe it was immediately after we got to the house.
So after you got to New Hampshire?
Yes.
And why did you text that photograph to her?
Objection.
Overall,
Relevance.
overall,
Really, I just wanted to show what we were all doing. Obviously, I wanted to keep Caitlyn informed on just what was going on and what we're doing.
And was it just one of a series of photographs that you sent to Caitlyn from you and Eloin's road trip?
Yes.
Judge, I move to strike the ID and that defendant's exhibit F be entered as a full exhibit.
Over the state's objection, the ID may be stricken and it shall be considered as a full exhibit.
Permission to publish to the jury?
Yes?
Members of the jury, I'm going to ask you to pass this photograph.
Attorney Kittle's afternoon break. Okay, we'll stop here for our mid-afternoon break. Members of the jury will resume at 20 after. We'll resume at 2:20. Again, please do not discuss the case amongst yourselves, and if anyone does so, please inform a bailiff. Thank you. All rise. Okay, thank you. Please be seated.
This photo of you and Eloin, defendants F, you said that you sent it to Caitlyn?
Yes.
Did you send it to anyone else?
Yes. I'm trying to remember exactly who. I think my parents, I think, and I think both of Caitlyn's parents as well.
Both Lori and Rob?
I think so, yes.
Do you still have that calendar up there?
Yes.
What date did you arrive in New Hampshire?
If I'm remembering right, I actually think it was the 25th, January 25th.
So that's different than the date that you guessed when you were, or mentioned when you were talking to the police?
So, yes, the more I thought about it, the more, I'm pretty sure it was the 25th, not the 23rd.
Can you write the date you arrived in New Hampshire on the calendar?
Yes. Okay.
Where was your apartment?
So it was in Berlin.
Was it on 1063 Main Street?
Yes.
How was the apartment when you arrived?
So we arrived a little early, so it needed some cleaning, but anyways, we did some deep cleaning and then got kind of what we had taken in the car set up and ready for the pods to arrive, to really get settled in.
Did you set up your bedroom?
With what we had, yes.
And did you set up the girls' bedroom?
Yes.
Did you do anything else to get settled in?
Quite a bit, just to get settled in New Hampshire. I had to get new driver's license, new registration on the vehicle, new license plate. I got Eloin enrolled in the Berlin Head Start, the preschool that's right there. And we were regularly going to like the Berlin library. But yeah, just kind of getting all that taken care of.
Did you send anyone your address?
Yes. Yes, Rob was asking to send Valentine's Day cards.
Did you ask Caitlyn before sharing the address with Rob?
I did. Actually, I take it back. It was actually right afterwards. But I did ask Caitlyn if I could share or if she had an issue with me sharing the address to anyone.
Did she?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance and hearsay.
Sustained.
But you testified earlier that you had, Rob, Caitlyn's dad, had wanted to send some Valentine's Day cards?
Yes.
Oh, you don't have it? Dustin, where in the house do you keep the Valentine's cards?
I set them in the living room, and it was on a little, like a black drawer. I set them on top of it.
Were they in one of the photographs the state introduced?
I believe so, yes.
Was it maybe visible in a video that was played?
Maybe.
Okay.
That might have been it.
For everyone's sake, I'll stop trying to find it. How were things with Caitlyn once you got to New Hampshire?
So they were all right at first, but she was really having money issues, and so she was continually asking for more and more money.
Did you have an argument about money?
Yes, so this was February 14th. She really what a lot of it was about money, but it also included how she wanted to put Eloin and Valen on her taxes. And I didn't even say no, but she just didn't even like that response. So she started making a lot of threats about how she was going to say that I kidnapped Eloin and took her to New Hampshire without her permission.
Let me ask you, had you done that?
No.
And your understanding was that Caitlyn had given you permission to?
Yes.
And you had been staying in touch with Caitlyn along your journey
Yes.
and sending her parents your address?
Yes.
Who did she say she threatened she was going to call and falsely make these claims to?
To the police.
What else? Anything else happened during that argument?
Well, along with that, just threatening that she would take the girls away from me and I'd never see them again.
And how did that argument impact your plan, the plan that you and Caitlyn had for Caitlyn to bring Valen to New Hampshire?
So at that point, I wasn't sure what was happening. Now it sounded like she was not going to bring Valen to New Hampshire. So I start making a bunch of calls immediately. So
Let me back you up there for a second, okay?
Yes.
You said that argument was on February 14th,
yes,
and is Caitlyn's phone number 612-900-4997?
yes.
I'm gonna take a look at the cell phone records the state introduced into evidence earlier. Phase 13.
Mr. Duren, can you see that? from
I
your screen?
cannot, no.
Judge, I might suggest a brief recess for some tech finagling. I apologize.
Okay, all right, members of the jury, under the circumstances, we'll take a quick break. It shouldn't be more than 5 or 10 minutes. We'll resume when we've restored capabilities. Please do not discuss the case amongst yourselves. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Please be seated.
So you testified earlier that Caitlyn's phone number was 612-900-4997, right?
Yes.
And now we're taking a look at the cell phone records, space exhibit 13. I see there where 35 is highlighted.
Yes.
Does that show that you called Caitlyn on February 14th?
Yes.
What time does it say that you called her?
15:33.
Is that,
3:33. 3:33 p.m. Yes.
and after, you said you had called multiple people after this argument. Is that call the one you're referencing with the argument?
Yes. Yes.
Who did you contact after the argument?
I believe I called several different people, but I called my Minnesota attorney several times. I think I called my parents. I may have called Rob and Lori. I guess I don't remember specifically that day.
Okay. And going through these cell phone records would help you remember, I assume?
If I knew the phone numbers, I don't remember the exact phone numbers.
The next two calls you made are to 952 955-8008. Does that sound like your Minnesota attorney's phone number?
Yes, actually, yes.
And is that an attorney that you were talking to around child custody?
Yes.
And so do lines 36 and 37 show that you called your Minnesota attorney twice?
Yes.
At what times?
That was 15:55 and 15:56. 3:55 and 3:56.
And we heard testimony earlier about what your mom's phone number is. That next line, line 38, is that your
Yep.
mom's phone number?
Yes, it is.
So did you call your mom? Does that
Uh,
represent
yes.
that you called your mom?
So yes, I did call my mom, yes.
And what time did you call your mom?
That was 4:09
And line
p.m.
4:09 p.m. And then that next line, what does that show? So we've got who the call was made to, and then who the call was made from afterwards.
So that's my mom calling me back.
And then lines 40 and 41, who's calling you back there?
That's the Minnesota attorney.
What time did the Minnesota attorney call you back?
That's 4:18 p.m.
Line 42, who do you call?
That again, that's the attorney.
Is Lori Smith's phone number 763-381?
Sustain.
May we approach?
Sure.
You testified earlier about having some trouble remembering Lori and Rob's numbers. Would it refresh your recollection if I showed you their phone numbers?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor.
As to-
Format. May I see what's being shown to this witness? May we approach?
Yes.
So you don't remember Lori's number?
I don't know.
Do you remember the area code or anything like that?
Not off the top of my head, no.
And you don't remember Rob's either?
No.
Okay. But you think that you called Lori and Rob?
Yes.
We heard testimony earlier that the Berlin Police Department phone number is 603-752-3131. And we also saw from an earlier witness that you called 603-752-3131 on February 14th. I'm gonna draw your attention to line 46. Does that show that you called the Berlin Police Department on February 14th?
Yes.
And what time?
5:20 p.m.
Did you call the Berlin Police Department before or after your argument with Caitlyn?
Afterwards.
Why did you call the Berlin Police Department?
I was worried that she was going to call them and try to have me arrested. Like claim that I kidnapped Eloin and brought her to New Hampshire.
And again, that claim was false.
Yes.
What did the Berlin Police Department tell you about whether or not they would get involved?
They said they would not get involved.
Let's look at the next record, line 47. Does that show that you called your mom again?
Yes.
And what time did you call your mom?
5:32 p.m.
What's the phone number you called on line 48?
It is 612-221-2078.
And so that's the same area code as Caitlyn's phone number?
Yes.
Do you remember whose phone number that is?
And that is potentially Lori's.
But you're not sure?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's okay. Does it show what time you called someone with the same area code as Caitlyn's phone number?
6:45 p.m.
And is that the last call you made that night?
Yes, it is.
After that argument, when's the next time that you and Caitlyn communicated?
So it was almost a week later to where Eloin, it was the first time that Eloin went to the Berlin Head Start, the preschool. And so she was pretty excited about it and wanted to talk to her mom, talk to Caitlyn, and tell her about it.
And how did you communicate that to Caitlyn?
So I texted her about how Eloin wanted to.
Actually, withdrawn, I apologize.
No ruling.
Sorry, can you say it
I
again?
can try to ask the same question again. How did you communicate to Caitlyn that Ellen wanted to talk to her?
So I texted her that Eloin just had her first day at the preschool and that she wanted to talk to her.
Did Ellen and Caitlyn talk that day?
I don't think so, no.
What, if anything, did you offer to do for Caitlyn after the argument?
So eventually, just because I was worried about this, well, actually, I'll back up a minute. I hadn't seen Valen, and so I want to
Your
see if she was
texts
okay.
are non-responsive.
Overruled.
I was checking on Valen, wanted to see if she was okay, so I texted Rob, her dad, and just to see if he could go over and check on Valen and just see how she was, which he did, but he said that he didn't actually see her, that Valen was sleeping, and that he just didn't want to push the subject, so he just kind of left it alone.
And how did that make you feel?
So obviously a little disappointed, but yeah.
And did you offer to do anything for Caitlyn at that point?
So at that point, I was just thinking, okay, if I can just text her and say, okay, you can claim Eloin and Valen on your taxes, and if I just say that that's okay, will you still bring Valen to New Hampshire?
And what response did you get?
And she said yes.
Did you do anything else to make sure that Caitlyn would bring Valen?
So I did, I think I had already done this actually, but I did reimburse her for the plane ticket. And I was still sending her what I could, money-wise.
What else did you do after the argument?
I guess I can't think of anything specific afterwards.
You testified earlier you had talked to your family court, or your child custody.
Oh,
lawyer in
yes,
New
yes.
Hampshire. Can you tell us about what you did in relation to the
Okay,
family
well,
lawyer? Or, I'm sorry, in Minnesota.
yes,
Spoken to
the
the
Minnesota
family lawyer in
attorney, yes.
Minnesota.
So I was trying to retain her, so I was paying her hourly, but I want to retain her just because, again, I was worried that something was going to happen. So I was trying to get a retainer. She was needing $4,000, and I was tight on money, especially with the move. So I was trying to figure out what to do. I was thinking about selling my car, but didn't actually do it. And then was trying a credit union, and my credit wasn't that great at the time, so got denied for that. I was just trying to figure out ways to make it work.
Were you able to retain the lawyer?
No.
Did Caitlyn end up coming to New Hampshire?
She did, yes.
And did she bring Valen?
Yes.
As far as you know, where was she staying when she got here?
As far as I knew, with Brenda or one of her rental properties.
One of Brenda's rental properties?
Yes.
Had you offered to let Caitlyn stay with you?
I did. I texted her about how I kind of figured that she would.
May we approach?
Yes. Sustained in part, subject to rephrase.
Had you offered to let Caitlyn stay with you?
Yes.
And did she take you up on that?
And she said no.
And without saying the content of the messages, how were you aware that she did not want to stay with you? Or that she had, why did you think she didn't want to stay with you?
Objection, Your Honor, I'm just, in terms of phrasing of the question, I'm not sure how we get to that without hearsay.
Your Honor, can we approach?
Yep.
Did you receive a text that caused you to believe Caitlyn did not want to stay with you?
Yes.
Did you and Caitlyn plan to meet while she was in New Hampshire?
Yes.
Where did you plan to meet?
So we had figured out a restaurant halfway between Hampton and Berlin.
Do you remember what town the restaurant was in?
Ossipee.
What was it called?
Harley Jack's.
What did you think would happen when you went to Harley Jack's?
That we would all meet. So Caitlin, me, Eloin, Valen, and Brenda, and that we would all sit down, have dinner together, and then Caitlin and Brenda would then leave, leaving Valen and Eloin with me.
Did Caitlyn send you any messages the day that you were supposed to meet at Harley Jack's?
Yes.
What did she tell you?
Objection.
Can we approach, Judge?
Sure.
Before you met up at Harley Jack's, did you text Caitlyn to ask, is it just you and Brenda?
Yes.
And did she respond, she'll drop me and Balin?
Objection.
Sustained.
May we approach?
Sure.
So you testified that you had asked who was going to be at Harley Jack's.
Yes.
And based on the response you got, what were you thinking?
I was thinking that Brenda was just going to drop Caitlyn off.
And what did it mean to you that based on the text you got, you thought that Brenda was just going to drop Caitlyn off?
So I was immediately confused because that's a long drive. That's like an hour and a half, whatever it is, to meet us. And then how is she going to pick you back up? Like, is she just going to drive all the way up there and then leave and then come back and then pick her up? In which I think I texted her something along those lines afterwards.
And did you get a response to your inquiry?
I did not, no.
Did you end up going to Harley Jack's?
I did.
What day?
That would have been February 28th.
Can you please write that date on the calendar?
Yes. Yep.
You can take that calendar back from me.
The ID may be stricken and it shall be considered as a full exhibit.
Your Honor, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Certainly.
And I'll just let you know that there's some information on the second page. When you went to Harley Jack's on February 28th, did you take Eloin with you?
Yes.
Did Caitlyn also go to Harley Jack's?
Yes,
Who got there first?
I did.
Where were you when Caitlyn got there?
I was inside the restaurant with Eloin.
What happened when Caitlyn got there?
So she called me to say to come outside because she had a bag of Valen's things and to put it in the trunk. So that's what I did. Came out and grabbed it and put it in the trunk. And then the four of us, Caitlyn, myself, Eloin, and Valen, went inside the restaurant.
Was Brenda there?
No.
What happened when the four of you went inside the restaurant?
So we sat down, had a meal. We didn't, Caitlyn and I specifically, we didn't talk really. We were really just interacting with the kids, Eloin and Valen.
And at some point, what did you decide to do when you were leaving Harley Jack's?
Well, I didn't get to make a decision. So Caitlyn started talking to Eloin and asking her to see her new house, to see Eloin's new house. So at that point, I was taking it like she wanted to come back to the house.
And what did you think when you were taking it like Caitlyn wanted to come back to the house?
So again, I'm really confused because she explicitly said she did not want to come back to the house. And so I didn't know what was going on. Like why was all of a sudden the plan changing? So I was hesitant, but I just agreed that, okay, fine, you can come back for the night, but it would just be for the night, just the one night.
And what happened after you left the restaurant?
So we got in my car and drove to the house in Berlin.
Who's we?
So myself, Caitlyn, Eloin, and Valen.
And was this still February 28th of 2024?
Yes.
You need to look at the calendar, let me know. But what day of the week was February 28th, 2024?
Wednesday.
And what were the sleeping arrangements that night at your house?
So my bed was set up in just my bedroom, and then I had an air mattress that I got for Eloin and I before our pods arrived, just for something to sleep on. But then, so I slept, myself and Valen slept in my bed, and then Caitlyn and Eloin slept on the air mattress.
What did you do the next morning, Thursday the 29th?
So right away in the morning, I made breakfast and we went to the public library. It just happened to coincide with bi-monthly, they had a arts and craft, like kids arts and craft thing at the public library. So we went there just as a family and just went through the story time, and Eloin made just the character from the story with like cotton balls and glitter and stuff like that.
I'm going to show you States Exhibit 8. Can you see that craft you described with pom-poms or cotton balls? And
Yes, yes.
Where is it?
So it's right in front of the coffee maker on the far left of the picture.
I published to the jury too.
Sure, Attorney Kettles, I think, which one of 8?
States 8,
Is there a specific letter on it?
maybe O? Yeah, 8O.
8O, okay. Thank you very much.
President, I published to the jury.
Certainly.
you go after children's story time and arts and crafts at the library?
I went back to the house.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Okay, certainly. We are going to conclude there for the day and for the week. So, once again, just a series of instructions. You've been very attentive to my instructions, and I appreciate that. Because it is going to be over a weekend, we will start again 9 o'clock on Monday. Between now and then, please do not discuss the case with yourselves or with anybody else. And I realize that we're going to be, it's going to be a 2-day break, but please discuss the case with nobody else. Please don't do any research about anything that you've heard about as part of this proceeding, including any online research, any visiting of any locations or anything like that. Take no action in that regard whatsoever. Again, there is a media presence here. Please do not research any aspect of this, and please go so far as to avoid any interaction with anybody relative to the content of the media coverage as well. Please try to avoid any inadvertent exposure. And with those as the instructions, and again, I appreciate your attentiveness to these instructions, we'll resume again 9 o'clock on Monday. And with that, I wish you a good weekend and take care.
All right.